Today we're going to be making Italian sausage out of goose meat, and making sausage, whether it be brats, Italian sausage, summer sausage, jerky sticks, all of those are my favorite ways to cook duck and goose meat. Now there's other ways that I also like making duck steaks where you just grill them on the grill, or making that goose pastrami that I made the other day. That stuff was phenomenal. But those are all good options for if you've got a couple of breasts you're wanting to do. But if you've got 10, 15, 20 pounds in your freezer, or you and your buddy have that combined, making sausage is one of the best options for you, because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it's just kind of monotonous eating the same kind of ways you cook them. One of the biggest reasons why I like making sausage is because you can use a lot of the meat at one time, and you turn it into things that are actually really easy to just take out of the freezer and you can cook it, like brats or sausage, or even snack sticks and summer sausage. Those are also great options. Now, in order to do this, you do need a meat grinder and a sausage stuffer. I will leave links to recommendations that I have for those in the description. They're not going to be the highest tier, top of the line. They're going to be what I use. I use the pretty much just basic kitchen countertop, basic $100 meat grinder, and like a $50 sausage stuffer. But Adam had his stuff in this video, and he's got fancy stuff. Now you do want to make sure you get a grinder and a stuffer. I have used those little stuffer attachments that go on grinders, and in my experience they haven't worked as well, and you also don't have as good of control with them as you do with a hand crank sausage stuffer, because you'll see in this video when you're stuffing the casings, having that kind of control is very, very, very important. Otherwise you're gonna have blowouts and it's not gonna be good. So if you're interested in getting started in doing this, I'll leave links to help you out in the description. I'll also leave links to the seasoning that we used for this video, and also seasonings I recommend and have used in the past. So check those out in the description. And before we start this video, be sure to leave me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It means a lot to have you guys do that. Let's see if we can get this video up to 500 likes, and stay tuned because there's more content coming your way. So let's go ahead and make some sausage. So here we have some goose meat, and Adam likes to wrap it up in that butcher paper and saran wrap. And that stuff, if you wrap your goose meat up in that, it's gonna last forever in the freezer. So what you want to do is take it out the night before, so that it's kind of somewhat frozen, and you're going to cut it up into about 1-inch cubes to be able to go into the grinder. Okay, so there is what it looks like when it's all done. Now we got the grinder going here, and you can see me over there with a metal detector, and I just got that recently. I'm looking for BBs, because a BB can really mess up a grinder blade, and it can also mess up your teeth. Now once you're done with all of your goose meat, make sure you grind up your fat, and something you need to make sure is that your grinder parts are cold, so then you don't render the fat inside your grinder. Now we did about 14 pounds of goose meat and about 6 or 7 pounds of pork fat. Now all this pork fat was just trimmings from Adam's dad. He just trimmed up pork butts what he's been smoking and saving the fat for Adam to make sausage out of. So we got about 20 to 21, 22 pounds of meat total here. We're mixing it up to then put the seasoning into it. Gotta mix it up real good. You can see that good fat in there. Now the seasoning we're using is this backwood seasoning. It's hot Italian sausage, and it's made by Lem. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link to that in the description. It works out really well. We didn't have 25 pounds like that whole package makes, so we had to measure out approximately the right amount of seasoning. You really can't go overboard on the seasoning. Makes it more flavorful, you know. So you're going to put that seasoning in there, then you're also going to mix it with water. And then we used a spoon because Adam was tired of his hands being frozen from mixing it with his hands. The spoon did seem to work out really well. And then mixing it up. And that's what it should look like when it's all mixed up and incorporated together. Now what we did was, after it was done being mixed, we threw it down in the refrigerator for a while and let it kind of set up a little bit before we put it in the sausage stuffer. Now the sausage stuffer that Adam has is an absolute tank. It holds like 7 pounds of meat, but you want to crank it nice and slow so then you don't blow out any of the casings. We are using natural casings on this, and I personally prefer the natural casings. So you go nice and slow. You want to make sure that the meat gets in there tight, but not so tight that it busts. You might have an occasional blowout here and there, but it's really no big deal. You can recycle that meat back into the stuffer and tie off the casing, and you're good to go. And something you want to do is, when you are stuffing your casings, get it out to about 5-6 inches long, and then you give it a good twist. and then you can keep going from there. Once you get to the end, you want to make sure that you leave enough space to tie it off, because you got to tie it off so then none of that meat comes out of the end. So there you go, one quick overhand knot and your sausage is done. So there was one natural casing full of sausage there. Doesn't that just look good? I love that sausage. It turned out really good. So this is kind of what the natural casings look like. They come in like a brine kind of deal. You got to rinse them and soak them for a little while, and then you got to be really careful getting them onto the sausage stuffer. We had to use the smallest stuffer attachment, and you got to kind of wiggle it on there and be careful not to bust the casing, because if you bust the casing, it's not going to hold any meat. So I had like a little like pull and push kind of thing going, and it worked out really well to get that casing on there. And make sure that you tie off the front end as well. Now once you're done, go ahead and twist them really tight at the links, cut them, and then put them in vacuum sealed bags, and they will last a very long time in the freezer, and they sure are tasty. We did end up tasting some of the sausage, and it turned out amazing. And look at that one, we made a really long one. And there you have it. Very quick and easy, simple way to use your duck and goose meat and make it into something that will last a long time in the freezer and be a crowd favorite at any backyard barbecue. Now, cooking wise with the sausage, you can grill it, you can go ahead and cook it on the stove, you can open the casings and just cook it without the casing in there. There's tons of different ways that you can cook the Italian sausage, and that's the reason why I like making Italian sausage out of it. There's so many different options that you can do. So you make pizza, you could do spaghetti, and like I said, you can cook them up on the grill, and any way you cook it, it's going to be really good. Now, a couple things you need to make sure you do is make sure you have a good fat to lean ratio in the sausage. I mean, you probably want at least 30% fat in that sausage for it to taste good, because remember, fat is flavor. That's where a lot of the flavor is going to be coming from. And I think the pork fat and the goose meat, when they mix together, they are absolutely phenomenal. So like I said, if you guys are interested in doing this or anything like this, I will leave a link to all of the things that you need to get started making sausage out of your wild game in the description of this video. If you haven't left a thumbs up yet, please be sure to do that and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to have you guys subscribe to the channel. We just broke 85,000 subscribers the other day, so that's pretty cool. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed. And if you guys have any questions or comments, leave it down in the comment section down below. I'll get to your questions, and I hope you guys try this out. You will enjoy it. It's going to be a fun, quick process. You know, I think the first time I did it, it took a lot longer, but now I've got the system down to where it doesn't take all day to make sausage. So I highly recommend it, and if you guys want to give it a go, send me pictures of the end product of what you guys do on my social media. So I've got Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. Follow me on there, and if you guys do any of my recipes, be sure to send me a message. I'd love to see them, and then I'll repost them so then everybody can see all of the hard work that you guys put into it. But that is all I've got for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will catch you on the next one.